Let's go to Canberra now and catch up with Bridget McKenzie. She's the National Senate Leader. Thanks for joining us, Bridget. Good to be back in the big house, no doubt. Some degree of bipartisanship, I think, on display when it came to anti-Semitism in the country and condemning that.
Yeah, absolutely. There were motions moved in both the House and the Senate today condemning anti-Semitism that we've seen in our suburbs. We've seen it increasing over the months. We've spoken about this many times, Chris, on your program. And we on the coalition side obviously saying enough time for words and symbolic rhetoric. The time for action is now. And really the Parliament joining to say we condemn it, but also I think from us on the coalition side, recognising and acknowledging that the government's soft response, weak response post-October the 7th has really led us to the situation we find ourselves in now, and they need to be moving strong legislation to actually deal with it and working in a joint way with the AFP and state police forces to arrest perpetrators, put them behind bars and send a strong signal to our community that enough is enough.
Look, I just don't think they've got it in them. I mean, the point is, it's been 16 months. We've seen just mealy-mouthed words, a lack of action from day one. And Anthony Albanese today is even sort of sounding sort of more in sorrow than anger. He should be angry about this. He should be threatening about this. He should be on the front foot about this. He won't even tell us now when he first found out about the explosives north of Sydney the other week.
Yeah, Chris, you're exactly right. It's like they've had this sort of Rubicon moment, all related to politics, I might say, and the looming election over the summer holidays. And the rhetoric we heard in the chamber in the Senate today around the anti-Semitism, I would have loved them to be saying that post-October the 7th. Instead, you couldn't say anti-Semitism without saying Islamophobia out of the Labor Party's mouth for the last 16 months. And again, I have not heard of any mosques being subjected to fire bombings or alleged terrorist attacks. However, we have seen places of worship of our Jewish community firebombed, education centres of our Jewish community targeted in horrendous ways, unlike other religions in our community. And I think that speaks volumes. The Labor Party wants to see that they've had this sort of road to Damascus moment, shall we say, over summer, to paper up the fact that you're dead right. They've been weak from the start and their behaviour has shown it. The PM doesn't have it in him. You know why? Because he doesn't believe it, Chris.
Well,
the reason why he can't stand up is it's not something he actually believes.
A road to Jerusalem moment, perhaps, is what they're trying to suggest. But as you say, it really doesn't pass muster. I want to get on to energy, because I think there's been insufficient focus on this, because Labor, through Anthony Albanese and Chris Bowen in particular, have invested an enormous amount of political capital and an enormous amount of Australian taxpayers' money in this so-called green hydrogen revolution. Now, this is falling over at a rate of knots. So by my count, at least 8 major projects in Australia have now been abandoned. They've been abandoned by companies like Woodside, by Twiggy Forrest Fortescue, by Origin, by BP. This is the real world calling scam on this whole green hydrogen plan. So if that's gone, how on earth do Bowen and Albanese ever get to their net zero dream?
Well, they don't. They've got this renewable target of 82% by 2030. That is unachievable. We know if hydrogen projects, you've got serious players, big capital investors walking away from these projects. So the economics doesn't stack up, nor does the social licence when you come to actually community engagement. So on both the social and the economic assessment, these projects are not stacking up in a democracy like ours. And so really, any independent assessment of these projects is showing they're not worth investing in. And so they're going to be left with a big black hole, which will mean blackouts right across the eastern seaboard and regional internal capitals as a result of Labor's policy. And they're trying to sort of pretend that their energy policy has no impact on the cost of living or other issues that Australians are facing when we saw the independent food distributors come out saying their energy costs have gone through the roof because of these policies, and it's driven up the cost of food. Penny Wong didn't have an answer for that today in the Senate at all.
Yeah, we had him on last night. And the trouble is, just in wrapping up, they are going for experimental. The hydrogen play is an experimental play. Renewables plus storage is experimental. No one else in the world is doing it, yet they're ignoring the proven technology. They're rejecting the proven technology of nuclear that's before our very eyes. I'll catch up again, Bridget. Sorry, just finish if you like.
Just to say, the laws of economics and the laws of physics don't change, Chris.
They don't change at all. Thanks for joining us, Bridget McKenzie. They don't change, but they're not interested in economics or engineering or physics. They're interested in ideology and politics.